You're listening to the What the Elf Was That podcast, an iconoclastic look at the latest Cleveland Browns news. The What the Elf Was That podcast is part of the Fanatical Elves podcast network, a part of the Fans First Sports Network. Here's your host, Joel Cade.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of What the Elf Was That, where we look at all the stuff going on with the Cleveland Browns. But hey, before we get to Cleveland Browns, let's talk about the Guardians. Have you seen this, John? The Guardians are one game back from the Detroit Tigers.
One game?
One game. One game. It was less than a month ago. They were 8 games back.
Wow.
Now they are one game back as I'm looking at the standings right now. The Tigers are... No, they're 5 and I'm sorry. They're one game back from the wild card standing.
Wild card.
Oh,
Okay.
I ruined it. I was so excited. Actually, they're 5.5 from the Tigers. But I thought they were one game back, period. Now they're 5.5. I'm sorry. I was all
Joel,
excited
I think
about
though
nothing.
they were 15 or 16 games behind Detroit at one point, so they've closed
Oh yeah,
the
it was
gap.
crazy. It was crazy. I don't know. Hopefully we can still catch them. Let's go Guardians. Stephen
I think
Kwan,
we will.
baby.
I really
Let's go
do.
out there.
Yeah.
Let's
Jose
go get 'em.
with two home runs yesterday. He got the
Yeah, let's go.
game winner in the 8th inning. Do you think Jose is
Yeah,
like
that's
the
what I'm
more?
talking about.
Do you rate him as like one of the higher popular players in
I
Cleveland
think so
history?
because he stayed. He could have left. He could have gotten more money. I'm sure there are other teams. I'm sure the Dodgers are out there, wanting to pick up Jose,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he stuck. He stuck around. He stayed. So I think that does
Takes a
lend
lot
him
of
some credibility.
absolutely. Yeah, he's one that we'll always remember. I mean, you think back about all these other teams that the Indians had back in the day: Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, Albert Bell, Carlos Baerga, Kenny Lofton. A lot of these guys, moved on to other teams, but Jose
Hmm.
has stayed the course. Even but to be honest, the Guardians have had some pretty healthy, productive seasons. They made it
Yeah,
to the American
yeah.
League Championship Series a year ago, but now we wonder, did they throw that away with Emmanuel Clase?
Ball one. So, oh, I'm interested to see how this comes out. Speaking of credibility, how about can you think of any Browns player that may have lost some credibility this week? Because I can.
Oh
And the
shit!
one I'm talking about, you already know who
Eight,
I'm
not
talking about.
6, but eight.
Hashtag
Eight.
hashtag leader. One Miles Garrett out there speeding
Your
on the way
favorite
home
player.
from a football
You were
game
the first
out
person
there.
I thought of when that came out. I thought of Joel Cade. What the elf is that? Because I know how much you love Miles Garrett and how much you've talked about him being the leader of the Cleveland Browns. Not. There he goes again. I
you
hope they
know,
are taking care of this crap behind the scenes because it is embarrassing. He should be completely embarrassed by what's happened.
Miles Garrett is Miles Garrett. He's a knucklehead. And just on every day, he proves new ways that he's a knucklehead. I will only say this about this situation. That tweet came out from Mary Kay Cabot, and I retweeted it and put hashtag leader. And I got 10-cent beer night to tell me that that was a perfect tweet. And
Right?
I'm fledgling over here with 952 followers
10
and
cent
10
beer
cent
night
beer
guy.
night.
He is very
He's all
critical. I
over
don't
it,
know who
man.
you are out there. I know you're an old guy who loves your Cleveland sports teams, but for him to give you that praise is pretty
I was pretty jacked about that.
amazing.
Like 10-cent beer night. Thought I had a perfect tweet. But it was perfect, right? Leader. That's who he is. Hashtag
Perfect.
leader.
Man.
Hashtag leader Miles Garrett. Did you see him at his press conference out there with no shirt on and Mary Kay's like stumbling over her words? Oh no.
Was that before or after he got the
I
speeding
think that was
ticket?
before. I think this was
Gosh.
last week after one of the
2
Carolina
o'clock in the morning, driving through
situations.
Strongsville on I-71. Everybody knows that's where Shador got pulled over.
Yep.
You gotta know, like, dude, like,
Like if you're like a cop in Strongsville, you just gotta like wait until the Browns come back from a road trip and you're gonna like bust them all. Boom, 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 boom. Like give me the graveyard shift on the Browns weekend. Like I'm gonna bust all the Browns because they can pay the ticket. So that's who you give the ticket to. You can't give the ticket to the guys who can't pay it. You got to give them to the ones who can.
I'm just like you just keep saying Miles is just a knucklehead, and it's just so stupid. I mean, you can't fix stupid. I saw somebody text that back to me this week. You can't fix stupid, and that's true. You really can't. And for everything that we praise Miles Garrett about on the football field, he is a bonehead when it comes to off the field crap, and we're putting up with it because we've
He
brought
can
him
play
back, and we
football.
think that he what?
He can play football. I mean
Well, damn it,
that's why you
yeah,
put
he
up with it.
can, but it's
He can play football.
again adds to the aura of Cleveland Browns, what we are. I mean, let's face it, if you're not a Cleveland Browns fan, and I know some Cleveland Browns fans could care less on this point, but if you're not an actual diehard fan like Joel and I are, people rip the Browns organization, they rip Cleveland, they rip all these things constantly, and this just adds to the
Yep.
flavor. It's
I think the
humiliating.
the media tour, and that stuff just adds to the stupidity that goes along. I mean, I think you showed me the clip last time or the time before where somebody said, "Hey, if this wasn't the Cleveland Browns attached to all these draft picks and roster moves, people would think this is one of the smartest teams in the NFL." But
True.
because the name is Cleveland Browns, then everybody thinks they're just a bunch of morons. And you know what? I mean, look at their track record. They look like a bunch of morons. So who can argue with them? You think you
We
do all this smart stuff, and then you've got like this idiot like Deshaun Watson, like throwing it all in the toilet, or you like do this smart stuff, and you got Miles Garrett out there like rolling the car and running 100 miles an hour, and
I
like,
mean, we are the soapbox. We are the soap opera of the NFL. I mean, Hard Knocks is year round with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, even the national media for everything that we want to, criticize them about, they know that this is good entertainment for the rest of the
oh yeah,
country. People
you
talk
need
about the
clicks.
Cleveland sports franchises because we're the most entertaining people on the face of the planet. I mean, I'm sure Joel, you go places, and when people find out you're a Cleveland Browns fan, I'm sure that they have conversations with you, or they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry for you. Oh, that's a
Yep,
constant if you're a Cleveland Browns fan."
yep. I get that a lot because I live in Cincinnati Bengals territory, so I'm like an
Yeah,
out
who
of
they?
the
Who
market.
they?
Yeah, that's the New Orleans thing. The Bengals just stole it, but yeah, I live outside of but Ohio is like Southwest Ohio is still very much Browns, right? I mean, a lot
Really?
of the Bengals, yeah, there's a lot of Browns fans down here. You'd think it was, I'd say it's 50-50. You know, if
Okay.
the Browns were really going, when the Browns had a couple seasons where they were really going, there were a lot of people out with Browns gear on. But yeah, you get
Well,
those,
when I
some people
lived
are
in
just like,
Wichita,
eh.
Kansas, when I lived in Wichita, I was the greatest Browns fan of all time west of the Mississippi. I was the
There you
biggest
go.
fan. No, not.
The
There's a
goat.
great
The goat.
plethora of a ton of fans, especially there in Wichita. Shout out to the Oz chapter of the Browns backers. Great group led by Josh there. Many, many fine people there. Was the Browns backers president for several seasons back in the day when I lived in Wichita, Kansas.
Well, we could bemoan being a Browns fan all day, but it's like kind of like
Oh,
our
it's hard,
birthright. You know,
man.
it's like
It was
being
hard
Catholic.
today.
You're just born into the suffering.
Did you hear the suffering today? I mean, that's the big, what the other big story is out there.
Shadur apparently hurt his oblique. Now I did see before we went on air that he was a day to day on that.
They said it
So
was
I
an
don't think it's
oblique strain. So that doesn't
right.
seem as horrible as like they grade these oblique injuries by, one or two or three. That seems like it's minimal. They did show some video of him throwing the ball today. So he was throwing the ball, but he did show some grimacing.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like, what can you do? I don't understand Browns. Like, it's almost like they take all these players and wrap them up in bubble wrap, and they're afraid of them actually doing anything. So when they get them out, it's like getting the new shiny toy out. You're so concerned about doing something like playing with it, you're gonna break it, that
Yeah.
you end up breaking it just because you
Right.
like
Right.
doing so much to not break it, that it's so much in your mind that I can't break this. I can't break this, that you break it. Like, I think it's like
Well, in the
self-imposed in some way.
last week, Joel, it has been Shadur's popularity has expanded tremendously in this last week since the game. And we're doing videos here. We're throwing those out on the X and on TikTok, and people are watching our stuff here on the Fanatical Elves because they're interested in Shador. And I can't tell you the number of people that have said, I'm watching the Cleveland Browns for Shador. I'm not watching him to watch Dylan Gabriel. And that is
Well, word to those fans, because that's probably who you're watching Saturday. That's the most painful
and the
part of this
ratings in that
injury.
game on Saturday are going to plummet compared to what they were this past Friday night. I mean, I don't
I
even
think
want to even
I think that's
anticipate
the
what
real
those numbers will look like.
that's the real torture of this injury for Shador, is that like we now have to watch Dylan Gabriel for 3 quarters. Like that's just gonna be awful. You never know.
Oh,
He might be
awful.
good. He might be good. We might be looking at him
No,
and he might
don't
be like,
fool
holy
yourself. I know
cow.
some of
Holy
don't fool
cow.
yourself.
Look, anything can happen in the NFL. Anything.
Come
I mean,
on, man.
it's
You've
hard.
watched Dylan Gabriel
It's hard
play
to
at
believe.
Oklahoma and Oregon. Come on, man. He's not like we already
It's
know
going to
the
be hard
answer.
to believe. It's going to be hard to believe that he's going to come out and light up the place, because yeah, we've seen him in college and we've seen all the videos where he's like skipping the ball to receivers and stuff. He looks like a typical Browns quarterback in the 1990 post era, and I feel like that's who we got. It's like Butthead and Charlie Brown all wrapped up into one with him. I'm actually, to be honest with you, I actually want to see this guy play, because you hear so much about him. Oh, they like him as a third round pick, but I just want to see like what it looks like, just so I can like have that proverbial
So
bag of popcorn and just eat it
but
while I'm
that's the
watching.
real dilemma with Browns fans. It's a real, I don't know what you want to call it, a divide, but I talked to some Browns fans today at work, and they'll say, well, I just want to see the Browns win. Okay, but we're not winning. And then you see somebody now like Dylan Gabriel, who's gonna, like you said, is gonna play 3/4 of the game. I don't know. It's just depressing feeling coming off that such a huge high. You knew this is Cleveland Browns history. This is what happens. Is it a curse, Joel, or is it Tony Grossi's fault?
I think it's Tony Grossi, man. I'm going to be on this. I think it's Tony Grossi. I have this interesting theory. Tony Grossi has figured out how to get clicks in the media. Now, I think the reason the NFL, or at least Cleveland fans, put up with Tony Grossi is because Tony Grossi has single-handedly kept Art Modell out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Right? So that is Tony Grossi's value. He keeps Art Modell out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
We appreciate you, Tony, for that.
Yes, and I think the Pro Football Hall of Fame would probably know that fans from Cleveland would descend upon the Hall of Fame and probably destroy the entire building if they were to attempt to do something like that. And it would probably be vandalized on a regular
torches,
basis.
Fire. It'd be like the medieval days.
I think his bus would be like defaced on a daily basis, and I'd probably be in line to take my day. Like we'd set up a calendar, and everyone would take a day to deface Art Modell's bust, and I would take my turn. If you get on my X page, my first pinned tweet is me flipping off Art Modell's grave. I mean, so I'm pretty serious about this. Now, Tony Grossi. So the reason we keep Tony Grossi, but Tony Grossi is like that guy who should have retired a long time ago and has decided that if the more negative he could be about the most popular people he can be, the more money he can make. So he just goes out. He doesn't have anything against Shedeur Sanders. He's just trashing him to make money. And I think it was interesting to see that clip where Shedeur, I think, kind of knows what's going on. And he's just kind of like, hey, why don't you say anything nice about me? And what's Tony supposed to say? He's supposed to say, look, I get paid for trashing you. I mean, that's literally what is happening right now. I get paid the more I trash you. So he can't say that to Shedeur. And Shedeur knows that that's what the case is. And he knows that Tony can't say it to him. So he's just kind of having fun with him. Why don't you say anything nice? I didn't do anything to you. I mean, kind of like rubbing the situation in his face. Like, first of all, you can't even get in the locker room. Second of all, you're out here and all your whole gig is like trashing me. That's like what you have in your life right now is trashing me. So I was thinking about this. Like, do you remember all those things that Baker Mayfield used to have with Tony? The whole Jesus.
Oh,
Tony,
absolutely. He walked out on him once or twice.
Yeah, and was he the one that came up with the drill? Like, who said, "Have you worked on a drill to to help with your batted balls. And he was like, well, if there's a drill out there, maybe you should tell me what it is. I don't know if that was Tony Grossi or
Yes,
not.
I believe that. I
that-
believe that was him.
That was one of my favorite Baker Mayfield moments of like, wow, Baker just doesn't understand how to deal with the media right now, does he? Like, there are drills to work on getting your passes batted down.
Right.
So I started putting two and two together. Is Tony Grossi the reason why we can't have nice things in Cleveland? Is he the problem? Like, a quarterback shows up or a kicker. I remember when we drafted Cade York, right? Now I thought
Yes.
we wasted a pick on a kicker. Okay. We wasted a pick on a kicker.
Your other favorite position outside of Myles Garrett,
The
Joe
kicker.
loves kickers.
Correct. No, let's be straight. I hate kickers. They're not football players. Now, we get this kicker, Cade York, right? And what's the first thing that Tony Grossi and Mary Kay say to him? Are you concerned about kicking in the wind in Cleveland Stadium where the wind swirls? Have you tried to kick in the wind? Are you concerned that you're going to have the ball move? Have you thought about compensating for kicking the ball into that wind? Like, they're like putting this crap into the head of the kicker when they're standing up there. And this is what they do to quarterbacks, right? Quarterback shows up. How do you feel about being one of the numbers on the back of the jersey? How do you feel about having to start when no other quarterback can be successful here? How are you going to be successful here? Like, how do these people even have a chance? They're like carrying the burden. And I don't even think it's the Browns' burden. I think it's the media's burden, right? I think these people are burned out because they spent their whole life covering a team that hasn't won any football games. And if they would cover a team, let's say they're covering the Patriots, right?
Yes.
They could have more opportunities. Maybe they could have like moved up in the world to like the NFL Network or ESPN or like, but they can't because they're covering some team that
So
can't
they're doing
win.
they're doing this for spite, right?
They're angry.
They're for
angry.
spite.
Yeah, and they're like, screw it. If I have to sit here and deal with this my whole life, I'm going to get clicks. So I'm going to be as negative as I possibly can. Like, and it works, right? People listen to Tony Grossi's drivel. I mean, why not? Like, oh, what's
well, if you listen to the Johnny
Grossi
Cleveland
say today?
podcast and you listen to me on occasion, you'll find that I, sometimes do some of these things just for the clicks. But I guess some of my contributors or my here to the Fanatical Elves Network still don't. Well, some of them do, but
I'm here for the negativity and the clicks.
this is where we need Elliot to be here. We need Elliot on the air.
I want to talk about Steve Smith for a second. I got stuck watching.
Yes, you got to watch him, listen to him. Yeah,
I got stuck watching the Panthers broadcast on the NFL Network because I am out of the Cleveland area, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to Steve Smith talk about the Browns and Leggett. I mean, by the way, like Steve Smith condemned Leggett for his behavior in that game, okay, getting him and somebody else. Well, I mean, he threw 3 punches and dove at the guy's knees. And Steve Smith was just like, now I'm talking about the wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, not Stephen A. Smith, not that idiot.
No.
I'm talking about Stephen Smith. Right. So he's just like, I forget who it was that got kicked out. He's like, I don't blame him for throwing haymakers. That guy's trying to end his career. So anyway, Stephen Smith. So they're talking about, I guess Carolina has this long snapper who's been on the team for like too long, like a long time, right? So Steve Smith, like, what's the big deal with this guy? He's not a football player. He's a kicker. I was like, yeah, go Steve Smith. And then the other announcer was like, well, he's not a kicker. He's a long snapper. He's like, the same thing. They don't play football. He throws a football back to somebody to hold it and kick it. He's no better than Charlie Brown. I'm like, yeah, Steve Smith knows the deal. That's a guy who's probably lost too many football games to kickers being stupid. So, yeah, I mean, every kicker should be forced to wear the number 3 to remind them what their job is. Anyway, I'm digressing.
Here, I was going to show
you. What do you think about Tony
Grossi? Comments about, hold on, let's see here. Jeffrey's watching us. Thanks, Jeffrey.
I don't know. Jeffrey's the champion commenter. I don't know why Mary Kay would ask Dylan Gabriel about Shedeur. Everybody, that's all they do is ask about Shedeur. Like, that's how they get clicks. Ooh, this person said this about Shedeur. Ooh, this person said that about Shedeur. I mean, it's like the old Johnny Manziel days. At some point, we're all going to get sick of it. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Right.
But we're all going to get sick of it at some point. So the Browns, they can't even keep a quarterback healthy in camp.
No, right? Except for the 40-year-old. The 40-year-old guy that's coming off the couch.
Well, he's still in bubble wrap. They haven't even played him yet.
That's true. See, no one wants to talk about that. you
They
know,
haven't played him yet. Everybody else is getting the reps.
we're keeping the favorite toy from Christmas all wrapped up. It'll be the last thing that we play, right?
Well, let's hope
Or
keeping
it'll
him
be
in
that
bubble
last
wrap
outfit
is
that you
good.
wear. You know, you get all these new outfits, and you gotta, which outfit are you gonna wear for the really hot date? That's the one that you hold off on. That's the real winner. So that's what we have in
Yeah.
Joe Flacco. We're expecting
I,
him to roll through the first 6 weeks of the season, win us all these games, and we're going to be 6-0 and ready for Shador or Dylan to come in and continue
oh
the
no,
roll.
we're gonna put in Kenny Pickett. That's who we'll put in. We'll put in Kenny Pickett.
By the way, Jeffrey
I
thinks
have no
that
idea.
all kickers should wear number 0.
And they got to wear 3. They got to have some kind of significant meaning. Like it's got to be 3 or 1. 3 for the field goal or 1 for the extra point. 0 is like a curse. Like that may be their actual number, but that's not what we're striving for. We're looking for better than 0. We're looking for 1 or 3. Speaking
Oh,
of kickers,
man.
did you see that the Ravens, they drafted this guy, right? And there's some video of him kicking a 65-yard field goal in practice. And I just started laughing.
Really?
Like, who cares? It's practice. Let's see him do it in a
Right.
game.
Well, did you
Right?
see
I
the
mean,
Jacksonville kicker? He kicked one for 70 yards in a preseason game.
Oh my God.
That was, yeah.
So he kicked
yeah,
a 70. Yeah, actually I
70.
did see that. I did see
Yeah.
that.
But that doesn't
Okay,
count,
well,
right? Because it's
that was in a
preseason.
preseason game. It was still in a game, so I'm giving him that one.
Oh, you're gonna give
Sure,
him
it was
that
a
one. Okay.
preseason game. Sure, it's a preseason game, which is like a practice game, but it was a game-like setting, right? There
Sure.
was
Okay.
actual pressure. There was
It
actual
was Jacksonville, though. They suck.
mechanics. Well, let's hope.
But we want them to suck this year. So that
Fingers
we get
crossed in
high.
that Jacksonville situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
John, let's take a break real quick. Let's take a 5-second break here for station identification or getting paid or whatever we get. All right, and we're back. So, John, let's talk about the game coming up with the Eagles.
Sure.
All right. So I've gotten on Twitter. I try to avoid the toxicity of Twitter, but I got on Twitter and I saw
Yes.
that the offense didn't do so hot, but the defense did well. What have
That's
you
what I
heard,
saw,
if
too.
anything, about the joint practices? Have you heard anything?
The same thing that the offense was sloppy again, but that the Browns defense played very well. I would guess based on the comments, compared to last year when we played Philly, it seems like we're in a better spot this year. Like the most of the comments I saw seem to indicate that things went pretty well. Now they practice again tomorrow, correct?
I believe they do have another joint practice. So
Okay.
I would expect the offense to do well and then the defense to get their butts handed to them, because that's usually how these joint practices go, right? If you
Yeah.
win one day, you lose the next. And
So you
the
think
other
it'll
team
be the
comes out and
opposite?
rallies.
Okay.
I'm guessing for an opposite, because that's usually how this
So
goes.
I didn't see did Pickett play much? Did he get some reps? Kenny Pickett? I didn't see
I think
that.
he had some 7-on-7s, but not team.
Not team. Okay. So
Yeah, so I
really
think he
what
did
we're
some
going to see is
7-on-7s.
Dylan Gabriel on Saturday and your
And
favorite
the Pro Bowler,
Pro Bowler.
Tyler Huntley.
Ravens hate. Here we go. No.
Gonna bring out the Pro Bowler. Now, if he was that good,
what
why
a
is he
bummer,
on-
though. I mean, aren't you bummed out? I mean, I know you want to see Dylan Gabriel. Okay, fine. I'll give him a few series and we'll see what he looks like. But like I've already said, 80 to 90% of the fan base was so pumped to see Shador Sanders continue to play. And now it's just, blah,
Well, as a fan, I would say yes. I'm disappointed we don't get to see any more Shador. Okay, and I'm a big Shador guy. I'm just trying to hold back my enthusiasm.
What?
But I also want to see Dylan Gabriel. I want to see it.
Okay.
I want to. So many people are like, this guy's a complete crap show. And you got a lot of people like, oh, he's smart and he's intelligent and he
I think
can
he's
do
a
all the
complete crap show.
processes.
So that's my opinion.
So,
I'll stick with
we'll see what
the
happens.
latter.
I
Let me ask
personally,
you this.
hold on, man. I'm getting the popcorn
Yeah.
ready for this Saturday, man. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to have the popcorn and I'm going to enjoy the crap show, because that's what I expect to happen. Go ahead.
People that are talking that aren't real big Browns fans that I run into, they'll say things about Shador still, even like, he still sucks. He was a 5th round draft pick and he was going up against Carolina, and they suck. So all you Browns fans are getting all hyped about some guy, some kid who doesn't have it. And I'm going, I just couldn't disagree with that more. I mean, even people that follow the NFL very closely had a lot of high praise for Shador Sanders from last week's performance. Where do
Right.
you sit with that opinion about other people who's come in and say that he'll be crap like every other of the
Well, every
35 quarterbacks that have come through Cleveland since '99?
got two things. One, people want clicks. So you can either like if everybody's praising him, then you can come out against him and get clicks.
Yeah.
But my thing is this: he's got a lot of work to do still. His ability to take a snap is atrocious. I was I was like describing this to my brother the other night. Like
Mhm.
he stands there, takes the snap, then steps to do the rest of the stuff, which is awful. Like he
Okay.
needs to take that snap and make a step at the same time. The same
Yeah.
time the center needs to be snapping the ball and taking a step at the same time. It's like choreography. It's like a dance, right? Everyone has to
Hmm.
be taking the right steps at the right time or it's not going to work. The center quarterback exchange is a two-person job. It's
And I
not
know this
all on
is
Shador.
no, it's
Go ahead, you're gonna
simple,
ask a
but I mean,
question.
I'm going back to middle school coaching. I mean, it is all about timing. And when
Hmm.
you're even working with younger kids, getting them to understand that, you know, I take the snap from the center and you got to be doing this and you got to be doing this. Everything is about timing. So, yes.
Right, right. That center has to be taking a step or he's not going to be able to block. The
Mhm.
quarterback has to be taking the step or he's not going to get to his line on time or down his line on time to kick a handoff on a wide zone. He like takes the snap, then he turns. Like it's a two-step process for him.
Mm,
One, get the snap, two, then move. So
mm,
he's got some work to clean up, but
mm,
to do that though, you have to have a consistent center you're working with because everyone snaps the ball differently, everyone takes the snap differently. I mean, I wish I would have or I'd see a report one day where Shador Sanders is on another field and they're just rotating centers, right?
mm,
So one center rows over there and does like 100 snaps with them.
mm-hmm.
Then another center runs over there and does 100 snaps with him. Then a third center goes over and does 100 snaps with him.
Sure.
And then they go back to the first center and do 100 snaps. Like this is what he needs to do. He needs to
Hmm.
just take
It's
snaps
good
and
observation. Yeah.
just take snaps. So that's
So,
that's one. Two.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead. I was gonna say his drops are a little inconsistent, but he'll
Mhm.
he'll figure that out because that also is a thing. You need to know where your left guard's dropping to, or your right tackle and your left tackle are dropping to. What's
Mhm.
their depth? They need to know what your depth is to know how far they want to drop. So when he gets with a consistent offensive line, he will eventually figure out, okay, I got to do this many steps, or he'll take 3 steps, but how big those steps are will vary because
Mhm.
he'll want to get to a spot and they will
Mhm.
expect the offensive line will expect him to be in a spot and they will protect a spot and not a person, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they're trying to keep people away from a spot, but if he's not with a consistent offensive line, nobody knows where he's dropping to or where he's going. So that'll get cleaned up when he's playing with the group consistently. This is the kind of stuff you got to fix when you're actually
Mm.
playing a game. Anyway, go ahead. You're going.
Dylan Dylan Gabriel, you said is supposed to be the smart guy, and so
Okay.
we're going in this game. That's the expectation. People want to see him play because he's supposed to be the smarter quarterback
Well, if you
as
listen
far
to
as
him in
football.
interview or like if you listen to him in interviews, you listen to him on his press conferences, which is all we
Sure.
have, right? He
Yeah.
seems to know the process, how to learn the process, how to work the process, and how to do the things that are necessary to
Mm.
succeed
Mhm.
before the snap, right? So
Mhm.
his strength seems to be line them up, get them in a huddle, or get them in a huddle, call a play, line them up, and get them in the right play. He at least is talking like he knows how to learn that. Whether he's
Mhm.
learned it or not is a different thing, but he knows how to learn it. So, unlike Shador, his strength is pre snap, but he tends to fall apart from what I can see post snap. But we're not going to know that until we actually watch it happen in a game as to what's
Mhm.
happening. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Like, can he operate the huddle better than Shador? There were some hiccups
Mhm.
for Shador. There were some times
Mhm.
where he's like, "You got to get him out of the huddle. You got to get him out of the." And by the way, for anybody
Mhm.
listening, you need the offense lined up by 12 seconds before the play. Minimum. That's the minimum. If you can get them out of the huddle and lined up earlier, that's even better. So you can start that cat and mouse game for
Okay.
about 12 seconds. So you can look over the defense. What are they in? What do we want to
Yeah.
change to? What motions do we want to run? And then snap the ball. So if he's getting the team to the line after 12 seconds, he's late. And that's because he's not getting the play out or he's not
Is
getting the
that
play. Which, by the way,
standard amongst teams? I mean, we all talk about that.
that's generally a
Coaches.
standard in the NFL, right? You want to get
Yeah.
them in the huddle, out of the call the play, get them out of the huddle, lined up by 12 seconds so that you can do everything else at the line of scrimmage.
Okay. Yeah, there are a few moments I remember watching the play clock, and he was getting him in there, but it was like 8 or 9 seconds.
hmm So he just needs to speed up that process, but you can't do
Mm.
that unless you do it. So,
Yeah.
all right. Any other Browns news we want to talk about besides you got some cuts going on? That
Travis
guy.
Kelsey came. Did you see the old comments from Travis Kelsey from the Kansas City Chiefs commenting about when he was being drafted back in the day, like
Oh my
2013?
gosh. I did see that where he was like went into somebody's office and was just crying, like, if you
Yes,
draft me, this will be the greatest thing in my life.
Chud. Yeah, it's a coach Chud or whatever. Chud Chudwinski or whatever the guy we had
Rod
used.
Chudzinski.
Yes. And that the Browns passed on him. And now you look at, all the success that Travis Kelsey has had. And of course, Taylor Swift, all of that could have been part of the Cleveland Browns aura, that we've been talking about. But we probably, if that had happened, his career would have been ruined. Taylor Swift would have not had the huge success that she's currently having.
Oh,
She would
John,
have
you're
been
such a
dragged
Browns
down.
fan. What'll really have happened is this: he'll show up to camp. Tony Gross would be like, "So I know you're from the area. So how do you think you're going to succeed without consistent quarterback play? How are you going to be able to block when your offensive line coach is garbage? How are you going to catch a pass when the routes on the grass is so terrible that you fall over? How are you going to catch a pass when the ball is being fluttered in the wind? While it's being thrown in
Yes.
the air because of these weak-armed quarterback. That's what
We
would have
need
happened.
to we need
They'd
to
have done
have you
that to
meet
death.
Tony Gross. I would love. We got to figure out a way to meet Tony Grossi. I want to see. I want to be a fly on the wall when you are having that conversation with Tony.
Mary came out there. "Hey, so Travis, can I feel your muscles?
Yeah.
Would you read me some poetry?" And she literally asked Miles Garrett to read her poetry. Yeah.
Ah. We have some very unique, interesting old beat writers that really need to kind of, I think, move on. I think that's what we're saying here too, is that these guys, because I've listened to Tony Grossi like you have for decades. I mean, this is going
Mhm.
back to a long time ago. I can remember walking around, I lived in Wichita, and listening to Tony long distance, So anyway, yeah, I think you're on to something though. I think you're on to something. I think he could be the real reason.
He's the reason. We need to burn him in effigy outside of the stadium. Of course, if we get rid of him, then who's going to keep Art Modell out of the Hall of Fame?
That
You
is the
know,
one
that
saving
that's
grace.
why we
Thank you,
need him
Tony
around.
Grossi.
That's why we need him around. That's why we put up
Ah.
with him. He keeps Art Modell out, and then we're good. So,
So if we win a
John,
Super Bowl, though, does that all then we can just that'll be it, right? We win the Super Bowl. Okay, Tony, get going, gone. Mary Kay, we don't need you anymore. We won our Super Bowl. We're good.
what we need, and I think it may have happened, but what we need is we need Art Modell to time out of the like historical committee. He has so many years that he
Yes.
can be brought into the historical committee. We need him to time out of that committee before we can get rid of Tony Grossi. When it's like permanently, this dude can't be in the Hall of Fame. That's when Tony Grossi can leave. All right, so thinking of leaving, we're going to wrap this up. Any last comments, John? I know we've been having a good time
No,
here.
I'm like now I'm not very interested in watching the game on Saturday, but we'll be there. The Fanatical
No, no,
Elf
no.
Network and What the Elf and Joel will all be monitoring the situation, even though I won't be monitoring it with as much enthusiasm as I did last Friday night. But boy, I can't even imagine what the numbers are going to be like. They're going to be so dreadful. I mean, the Cleveland.
You know what? It's just Browns football. I'm rooting for the name on the front. See the Browns. I don't
Yeah,
even
I
think they
got it.
have that on the front anymore. This is one of those old
No.
jerseys. I don't even think the name's on anymore. I'm just rooting for the Browns, man.
And go Indians. I mean, go Guardians.
Yeah,
Keep
go
winning.
Guardians. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks, everybody. If it plays.
Thank you for listening to the What the Elf Was That podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell all your friends to give a listen. You can follow host Joel Cade on Twitter at The Left Guard.